If you've ever walked into a store looking for your favorite product only to find it completely vanished, you're not alone. Every year, thousands of products just disappear. And I'm not talking about them being temporarily out of stock. I mean, gone forever. But here's the thing that'll blow your mind. There's actually a simple economic reason why this happens. And once you understand it, you'll never look at store shelves the same way again. Today, we're going to uncover the hidden forces that make your favorite products vanish into thin air. And trust me, some of these reasons will shock you. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why companies make these decisions and how you can predict which products might disappear next. So grab your detective hat because we're about to solve one of the biggest mysteries in retail. Let me start with the basics. Every product on every shelf exists because of one simple rule: supply and demand. Think of it like a seesaw at the playground. When lots of chickens want egg, but there aren't enough eggs to go around, those eggs become super expensive and sell out fast. But when there are tons of eggs and only a few chickens interested, well, those eggs are going to sit there until they're either marked down or thrown away. And here's where it gets interesting. Companies don't just wait around for products to fail. They're constantly watching these numbers, and the moment something stops making sense financially, they pull the plug. Remember when everyone was obsessed with low-fat everything in the 90s? Then suddenly it was all about organic. Now it's plant-based and keto. Our tastes are constantly evolving, and products that can't keep up get left behind. Take fruit stripe gum. After 54 years on shelves, it was discontinued in 2023. Why? People just stopped buying it. We moved on to sugar-free options, breath mints, and honestly, most of us just started chewing less gum overall. But here's what's really fascinating. Sometimes companies create this scarcity on purpose. Ever notice how Starbucks only brings back the pumpkin spice latte in fall? Or how McDonald's Shamrock Shake only appears around St. Patrick's Day? This isn't an accident. These companies figured out something brilliant. When people think they might lose something, they want it more. It's called artificial scarcity, and it works like magic. You're not just buying a shake, you're buying the fear that you might not get another chance for a whole year. Now let's talk about the cold, hard numbers. Every product takes up space, requires workers to stock it, and needs marketing to sell it. If a product isn't bringing in enough money to cover these costs, it's getting the boot. Hasbro, the toy giant, recently eliminated about half their products. Half! They called it focusing on fewer, bigger, better toys. Translation, they're keeping the moneymakers and ditching everything else. And it's not just toys. After the pandemic, retailers everywhere realized they had way too many products that barely sold. An Axios report found that brands are slashing assortment to get rid of unprofitable items and make room for the next new thing. Think about it like this. If you had a lemonade stand and chocolate chip cookies sold 100 times faster than oatmeal raisin, which one would you keep baking? Sometimes products disappear not because people don't want them, but because companies literally can't make them anymore. And boy, did we learn this lesson the hard way recently. Remember the great microchip shortage of 2020, 2021?
Yep.
Suddenly, game consoles, cars, and even smart toasters became impossible to find. Companies couldn't get the tiny computer chips they needed, so products just vanished from stores. But here's a perfect example that happened even before the pandemic. The iPod Classic. Apple didn't discontinue it because people stopped buying it. They discontinued it because they couldn't get the parts anymore. As Apple's CEO explained, they no longer had access to the components, and redesigning it would have been too expensive. This happens constantly in tech. Once parts become scarce or expensive, companies just move on to newer technology instead of fighting to keep old products alive. Sometimes products disappear because new laws make them illegal or too expensive to produce. When some states started banning certain food dyes and additives, companies faced a choice: reformulate everything or just cancel the product. And guess what? Many chose. They just pulled the product entirely, rather than dealing with the hassle and cost of creating new recipes. Now here's where this gets really interesting from a psychology perspective. When your favorite product disappears, you don't just think, oh well, you feel betrayed, you feel abandoned, you feel like the company broke up with you without even sending a text. Marketing experts have found that when companies handle discontinuations poorly, customers don't just get upset, they switch to competitors permanently. There was a famous case where a popular skincare brand suddenly discontinued their best-selling moisturizer without warning. Fans took to social media in fury, and many never bought from that brand again. But smart companies have figured out how to break up with products without losing customers. They don't just yank things off shelves overnight. First, they announce a final production run or last chance sale. This actually creates a rush of sales because now it's scarce. Then they send advance notices to loyal customers. Finally, they guide those customers to similar replacement products. It's like being a good ex. You don't just ghost someone, you have the conversation and help them move move on. Every product goes through a life cycle. It launches with excitement, grows popular, reaches maturity, and then starts declining. Companies are constantly managing this cycle across hundreds or thousands of products. They're always asking themselves, should we invest in updating this declining product, or should we put that money into developing something new that might be the next big hit? And this is where supply and demand really shows its power. If demand is falling and supply costs are rising, the math becomes crystal clear. Time to move on. So the next time your favorite cereal, gadget, or snack mysteriously disappears from stores, don't take it personally. It's not that companies hate you or want to make your life difficult. It's just basic economics doing what economics does, finding the most efficient way to match what people want with what companies can profitably provide. If this video helped you solve the mystery of disappearing products, give it a thumbs up so more people can discover the hidden economics behind their favorite stores. Until next time, keep your finances feathered.